Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Ray, and I want to take a quick second and send my love and prayers out to the entire globe. I hope everybody's doing well in these hard times. In today's video, we have episode 2 of Surviving the Distance. So, hold on to your seats, and we'll be back with that and more right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hands Down Clothing Company YouTube channel, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. And if this is your first time joining the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, take a second and smash that like button and activate your notification bell so you can receive updates about future Hands Down content. So in today's video, I'm happy to be bringing you episode 2 of Surviving the Distance. I live in the wonderful community of Powell, Wyoming, and you know, in tough times, our community has a way of pulling itself together, and I just wanted to showcase that to everybody and give everybody a glimpse of kind of how our community works and how we all work together. Let me take a quick second and remind everybody about the We Are Wyoming Tough T-Shirt fundraiser that Hands Down Clothing Company is sponsoring. If you go and visit our website, HDCC307.com, you can see the t-shirt. What we're doing is we have set a goal of 150 t-shirts, and we're on our way to that goal. We have 11 days left of the pre-sale, so please consider going to HDCC307.com and buying one of those t-shirts. 80% of the profits from those t-shirts are going to go to help a small business or businesses that has been severely impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. So without further ado, let's get into episode 2. How's it going, everyone? Today I am joined with photographer slash graphic artist slash food truck entrepreneur. It's Danielle Dearcorn here from Hickory Street, LLC, Powell, Wyoming. How are you doing today, Danielle?
Good. Enjoying the nice weather. Sure is nice to have some outdoor time with the kids.
Yeah, it sounds like they're having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good. Today was a good day.
I sure appreciate you coming back to do this. Why don't we go ahead and start with the introductions? Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how things are going.
I'm Danielle Dearcorn. I own Hickory Street Catering, and we do full service catering, as well as we run our food trailer as a food truck style service with local beef from Forty Bar, as well as local lettuce and as much local produce as we're able to get. I started out as a photographer, went to college for that. I got into graphic design, t-shirt design, all that stuff. Got married, had 2 kids, and I've just stuck around Powell. I'm originally from Minnesota, so I'm not a native, but I've been here for about 13 years.
At what point do they count you as a native here? Is it right at 13 years? Because I think we're right almost there then.
I don't know. I think it's 13 years. I mean, I had my 10-year class reunion a few years ago. I don't know. Time flies. Like, I graduated when I was 18 and I'm going to be 33. So whatever that math is, 14 years? I don't know.
And you came you came to Powell. I'm not going to do math right now. It's already 7 p.m. Math ends at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So you came to Powell to go to college. That's how you ended up here?
Yeah, and my grandma's lived here since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I've always come to visit her in the summer, and I loved it here so much. So I thought, hey, you know, Northwest College has a great photography program, like world renowned, so it just fit. And then right when I was about to move back home, I met Paul, my husband, and the rest is kind of history. We've been married for 10 years this August, so.
And Paul's from around here. He's been here for forever.
Yeah, born and raised. I'm known as Paul's wife, so if nobody knows who I am, I'm Paul Dearcorn's wife.
Well, that's an easy way to remember who you are, Danielle. Danielle, Paul's wife.
But from this video on, it's going to be, Paul is going to be Danielle's husband, right?
Danielle from Hickory Street.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, you're married to that girl that runs Hickory Street. That's what it's going to be.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I remember before we moved here, my in-laws moved in, and it was kind of the same way. Whenever we would come and visit, it would just be like, we didn't want to go back. We wanted to stay here, you know, and we finally got here, and we've stayed for almost 13 years. So you probably beat us to the punch. So you went to school to be a photographer, and then you started doing the graphic design. So what got you into the food industry and running Hickory Street?
Well, so growing up, you know, and I like to tell everybody this, so my mom thought that my family was going to live off of Kraft macaroni and cheese and instant potatoes because I didn't have any interest in cooking. I didn't care. I didn't even like using a knife to peel potatoes. Hated it. But as I went into college and being married and all of that, I really found a love for cooking, and I've always loved food. So it just kind of came together that if I want to eat good food and I don't want to spend a ton of money, you kind of got to make it yourself. So it's become a hobby, and for probably the last 5 years or so, I've really dreamed of starting some sort of food service, like a cafe, something like that. I really love the older generations. I really wanted to do kind of somewhere where, you know, farmers could come in and have coffee and things like that. But I kind of quit my job on a whim. It's been 2 years ago here in a couple weeks. And this food trailer just came up for sale, and I was able to secure the cash to get it. And that's how it started. And we haven't been in business quite 2 years yet. It'll be 2 years in the end of July. But, you know, it's been a great adventure. And I've really learned a lot about cooking, and I still enjoy it, even though I have to do it for a living. It's been excellent. So...
yeah, so that's kind of, I mean, I guess that's everybody's dream, right? To be able to do something that they enjoy doing, and then you really don't consider it a job, right? And it's fun then, I guess.
Yeah, and every event we do is something new. I mean, you know, we did Paint the Town Red last summer, and we sold out in it's probably less than 4 hours, I think. And I have never cooked that much food in my life so fast. I mean, it was crazy. And, you know, we served 275 people pasta in January, and it just keeps growing, and it's every day is something new, and that's really what's been enjoyable about it.
So everything was going good and you were on track, and then the whole reason we're here is the whole surviving the distance thing, and then the pandemic kicked in. So how's that been for you, and how's that going?
Well, so I forget what day exactly it was, but I had gone to a catering convention in Las Vegas, and I got back thinking, oh, okay, you know, it's not going to hit me that hard yet. It's going to be okay because we live in Wyoming. We're pretty isolated. But it wasn't too long after I got back that I got call after call in just one morning canceling all my events for the next 3 months, and that was mid-March. So, we still have some of our June weddings on the books, but I literally lost thousands of dollars in one morning from cancellations. And, hopefully moving forward, our weddings choose to postpone instead of cancel, which would be fine. But yeah, I lost a lot, and I kind of panicked, and I applied at Walmart, and really didn't know what the future of my business was going to be. It just kind of all got ripped away so quickly.
That's kind of where we were at the last time we spoke, and things have kind of progressed since then. So tell us a little bit about how that's happened and what you've been doing to go ahead, to try to keep things going with Hickory Street.
So it kind of came to me when I was planning out our weekly dinner crates, which we do in the winters anyway, that, maybe I should try to see if we can feed people who are displaced from all of this, whether they got laid off or whatever the reason is, they have to stay home because they can't have daycare, whatever. So I started asking for donations through our new website and allowing people to use the code donate on there and either purchase for someone that they knew or just randomly put in kind of to the general fund of donating. And it was my cousin actually that donated $100 worth of meals, which was around 15 meals. And that's kind of where it all took off. We started with the 15 and it quickly grew to over 100 quite quickly, which was, I couldn't believe it. I was next to tears that people just stepped up so quickly to help.
And that was an awesome thing. You had the thing last weekend and we went down to volunteer. Yeah. And
that was crazy.
Well, the thing is that we want to help too, and that was one way to step in. And I had planned to actually do some interviews and try to, but there was no time for that, man. There was I don't want to say, but a buttload of meals to do, and you had your hands full, man.
That day we served 350 people food. And some of it was donations and some of it was families purchasing for themselves. It was about half and half. But then, you saw we were able to provide a bag of produce for each of the donations, just to kind of help people not have to go to the grocery store, not have to spend extra on like snacks and things for kids and whatever. So
I was amazed. It was very humbling just to see how much work you were putting into it and how many people you actually got to feed. And it was a really good experience. I enjoyed doing it. And, I didn't have any time to do any interviews. It was all
I know.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Get it done. And then by the time we were done, it was like, I don't think I want to sit around and do interviews. I don't think anybody else does either.
Well, and, I think it's kind of a bonus for me having experience with catering and weddings and things like that, I'm able to prepare for a large volume. But, we had served the hospital, it was 240 meals on Wednesday. Then we turned around and did our normal donation meals plus our dinner crates. And then we turned around and did the 350 people for Easter. And we also served, I think, Murdoch's for lunch that Friday. So, that week combined, we served over 750 people. And my gosh, I was a hot mess by the end of all that. That was more than I've served in my short career doing this. So definitely a learning experience, but oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for everybody that stepped up and helped. That was so great.
It was so good, though. You did a great job. I think that it came together pretty well, and I was actually surprised how well it did come together. When I first showed up, I was like, how are we going to do this? So we got all these meals to do. And it's like, but there were 4 of us to start, but you had everything pretty much put together and it went pretty well. And I was surprised because, with attention deficit disorder, I was like, just give me one job and let me do it. But it was.
I have that too. I was diagnosed 2 years ago. And oh my goodness, it is a struggle sometimes. And sometimes I rely heavily on my helpers to kind of help me get organized when I'm extra bad one day. So yeah, I get it.
Well,
It's
it was a great thing, and I was really impressed with you. You did a great job.
well, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
of course. And and then you sent us the coffee thank yous in the mail, and
Whenever I have an employee or a helper or something, that's the one thing I try to always do is they get a coffee because I know that's my happy place is having a cup of coffee. So it's like this catering event may have been a complete nightmare for you and you worked a 14-hour day on your feet the whole time cooking and serving, but hey, you get a coffee when you get up in the morning. So
but that little coffee says a lot, you know what I mean? And it was like that's all it takes. And I really realized that just getting that, and I'm like, man, how that made me feel. I need to start making people feel that way too when they help me out.
yeah, I mean, I guess what I've done with this business is just, kind of tried to live by the golden rule as much as I can. I want people to feel like they're appreciated because I know helping with food and stuff, it's a hard job. I want people to feel like one, they want to come back. Two, they're appreciated for giving up their extra time. I try to pay well when I can, but it's not always I'm not always able to do that, especially with the donations. So, it's, I hope people understand that we really do try to make it as fair as possible and that we really do appreciate everybody that steps up.
I think that's something, that says something about our community as well, the type of things that we do, and you want to make, and you want to say thank you, and you want to do those things, and because everybody else does them for the most part.
Yeah, and being in such a small community, I can't tell you how many people I know I see at the grocery store every little trip I make. And living here, we're fortunate to have that close relationship with people where I can walk down the street and be able to say hi to somebody. And also if I'm in trouble, I can just call up my neighbor and be like, hey, I need somebody to watch my kids, or with that Love Thy Neighbor group, hey, I'm struggling right now, I need some eggs, I need some milk, and people are just like, hey, I have some, here you go. It's been really great because I have friends who live in like New York City and places like that, and I know that little communities step up, but it's just not the same.
No, it's not. And that's one thing, and I think that's what drew us here as well, because it was just it's that feeling, and you can feel it when you're in certain places. It's an aura.
Mm-hmm.
And this Powell definitely has that. How has your normal day changed from what before the pandemic happened till right now?
I would say bananas crazy is the best way to describe it. Because, in the winter, having a food trailer, it's really hard and time consuming to operate because you have to pay attention to your lines freezing and, how many customers are you going to get when it's 10 degrees outside coming to your window. It's not the same as a regular restaurant. So we were doing the dinner crates anyway once a week, but having my kids home because there's no school, there's no daycare, no preschool, and then on top of that, having your home to care for that you always have had. And I feel like I have a very full plate, and at times it's very overwhelming. But I guess the best way to answer is that we've just been taking it day by day, and I take order by order, week by week kind of thing. It's just I can't look too far into the future because I don't know where regulations are going to be. The furthest I've actually looked is only to Friday because we're going to do the burgers on Friday and see how that goes, see how it's received, and then that will kind of determine what we can do moving forward. Because, April 30th is kind of our deadline right now, but, that could change tomorrow. We just don't know.
Yeah, and that's probably the best thing, is hope for the best, but just be prepared for it, I guess.
Yeah.
So with your family, how are they dealing with I know, it's hard for parents to not to be able to send their kids off for that 8-hour break during the day. How are the kids dealing with being home with mom and dad all day?
You know, they're handling it well, considering we do have some issues, you know, mostly emotional with school and all that, because doing online school is so much harder than doing actual school, you know, keeping up, having distractions, all of that. And we just actually dealt with that this morning, just the emotional aspect of not being able to see your friends and see your teacher, and you know, have that routine and that fun and that excitement. You know, as much as I try, I'm not very exciting. But my daughter has actually been handling it fairly well. I just worry about her keeping up with her letters and her numbers, because she'll start kindergarten next year, and without that constant education with preschool, it's an adventure. We went downtown and we did Pokemon Go this afternoon for about 2 hours, and that really seemed to brighten their spirits a little bit. But, you know, I mean, it's even hard to find that kind of time when, you know, my husband and I both work. I own my own business. He does part-time his own business, plus works at Murdoch's. And yeah, we just ask them to be patient with us, and that we're all stressed and we need to just get through it together.
So Paul's doing well. He's doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he's tired because he works at Murdoch's all day. And then on the weekends, he comes here and he does his small engine at home for people. And, you know, it's 7 days a week for him. I mean, really for both of us, that one of us is working or the other one isn't, or we're both working at the same time. And, you know, I relied heavily on my mother-in-law to watch my kids when I do the dinner crates, for sure. Easter week, she had them quite a bit, but, you know, I don't want them to be at risk for infection either. Right. So we try and minimize that as much as we can, but what do you do? As a food service provider, legally, I can't have my kids in my kitchen.
Right.
So,
well, you got to do what you got to do, and that's the thing. That's a good thing about, I mean, my mother and father-in-law are godsends too, and they've always been there. They're right down the road, and it's so that's a blessing as well to have family nearby. So what do you got on the menu this week?
So we're not doing dinner crates this week because we are catering for the hospital again. And then we're going to do our donations as well on Wednesday, like we always have. Last week we didn't because we had maintenance to do. We had an oven go down and some plumbing issues. But then on Friday, we're going to do our dinner, or not our dinner, our burgers, which is the 40 bar all natural beef out of Clark. We do scratch made buns. We're going to offer burgers, cheeseburgers. You can add bacon if you want. And then we're going to offer the cowboy burger, which was on our menu last summer. And we're going to do it as baskets with the hand-cut fries. We do the house seasoning that we make ourselves. We make our own ranch. And then you get a Pepsi product beverage with that of your choice. Which reminds me I need to call them. Pepsi in. And that'll run from just 11 to 2, or as long as we need to fill everybody's orders on Friday. And then depending on what we get from that, we'll kind of determine, you know, what we do in the next week or so with the burger service, or if we continue dinner crates for a while.
So what's the so you got the burgers and fries going. That's Friday from when to when? From
11 to 2 on Friday.
And that's just you call that in, or you do that online. How can somebody get your wonderful burgers?
So they can give us a call, and our number is listed on our Facebook page and on our website. Or they can come to the window. We just ask that everybody practice the social distancing, you know, come and order and then go sit in your car or whatever, stand somewhere away from people. We are not going to offer delivery. It's just going to be come and pick it up, because I haven't quite gotten that far yet, but hopefully it goes well.
let me tell you, the presentations that you put on your Facebook page, they are whole. I mean, I literally, you look at them and my mouth's watering thinking about it. So
Oh, good, good. That's the point. That's what I'm
right?
hoping. And that, you know, thankfully I have that photography background, so that can help me, you know, hopefully
And
market it
and
better.
it tastes good too. It doesn't just look good; it tastes good.
Good.
Yeah. So you got that going on, and how did you hook up with the Love Thy Neighbor? You work in tandem with them as far as the Wednesday meals, right?
Yeah, so we started our own donations mid-March, and then I had reached out to them to, you know, take a little off their plate on Wednesdays because we were doing it anyway. So I figured, why not? Let's just combine our efforts. And because cooking, even for 75 to 100 people every single night, I mean, that's a lot, especially when you have a day job or whatever. And so, yeah, we've been working with them for, it was like 3 or 4 weeks now, I forget. And then the Point Cafe came in just shortly after we did from Cody, and they've been helping out a lot as well. And they've been great.
Yeah, my hat's off to them because you know, when I talked to Ran and she was talking about how they were just putting all that stuff together, and it was good for us to see the community come together and help all of them as well. You know, and kind of ease that burden from them, because it's got to be hard, you know.
It is a lot of work. And, you know, on our end, we're fortunate that that's our job. You know, it's not that much more for me to add a few more cases onto my order for food, but for them, where, you know, they don't necessarily have the easy resources or the kitchen or the whatever, you know, it's a lot harder. And like I said, you know, they have day jobs too. They have lives that's not food. I mean, my life is food, so it's not that much different for me.
Yeah, but it's keeping you going. That's the good thing too. It's working hand in hand. That's and
Yeah.
I'm glad. You know, that's the thing about first talking to everybody right out of the gate, and then now getting to talk to people a couple weeks later, because it was kind of bleak back then, you know. And
Yeah.
I like it this way better because it's a better feeling.
And this, to me anyway, seeing all this, it's become so quickly just like a part, like it feels natural to me, that thinking about the future, it's like, well, what do we do when we're not doing donated meals? You know, what do we do when, you know, people are able to go back to work and take care of all of that? It just, I don't know. It's just so bizarre. I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone a little bit.
Oh, we definitely are, for sure.
It's weird. It's just weird, you know, not knowing what the future is going to be even a month away. I mean, I even hate taking contracts for brides right now for weddings because you don't know.
Yeah. But, you know, like we just talked about a few minutes ago, you hope for the best, you know.
Yeah.
And you got to plan for the future, and you got to move on, because that's a big part of what you do as the catering as well, right?
Yeah, that's what keeps us going in the winter. I mean, the dinner crates are great, but the catering is really, and what I would like in the future to move into full time is catering. You know, thankfully I have the trailer how it is, so I can have a bunch of different ways to bring in some revenue. But, you know, ideally I would like to get into the catering and maybe having like a small cafe. But right now it's just kind of make hay while the sun shines is any way you can.
Well, and it's a good way. I mean, it's a good start. I mean, at least you're looking forward that far too, you know. So if if you still have dreams to accomplish, you can't be held back, you know. That's a good
Yeah,
thing.
they're just a little on hold right now, you know, because I don't even know what would be available 6 months from now. It's just, I've never in my life lived in such an uncertain time
I
as
think
now, and it's a big lesson for sure.
And that's something I've been mentioning to our kids that are still at home, is you take stock in this and pay attention to what's going on, because this is something that I've never seen as well. And neither have they. And it's going to be something that people talk about, or that you can tell stories about down the line. And that's a good thing when you were just saying that, is that you can look back on this when things do go back to normal or semi quote unquote normal. Those are things that you can remember back. Oh, remember when we did that? Remember when we served 350 meals right before Easter? You know, those type of things. You know, those are
Yeah.
good stories for the kids and to be able to tell. I remember listening to my grandparents talk about those kind of things, and it would amaze me. You know, so.
And one of the things that I've always remembered, I saw a few years back, that, you know, when things are going bad, you know, you just always look for the helpers, the people who are doing good. And that's, you know, seeing the love thy neighbor and how many people are saying, yeah, I have this, yeah, I have that, how can I help? You know, that really kind of helps your heart get through, you know, the uncertainty and not knowing where your next paycheck's going to come from and all of that. You know, just trying to see the good and being proud of your neighbors and your community. It's helped a lot.
Yeah, and another thing that helps me get through are all the freaking memes. The
Yeah.
funny memes.
yeah, those help too. And you know, I've unfollowed a lot of things because I don't want to see all the bad.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's there. I don't need to be reminded every day. Just keep it at a distance, but you know, let's just enjoy each other. And you know, as much as social media causes problems, thank goodness we have it in a time like this, because you can still connect with people without having to be physically there. And that I think has been one of the upsides to social media, as terrible as it can be sometimes.
That's a great point, because that's the thing, is that when something's not bringing people together, and that's what social media is all about, is to connect people. But when there's not something to join us together, then it turns into that negativity. And I'm with you. I steer away from it because I don't like it. It clings to you, and it makes, you know, and that's the thing, like you said, it's great to have it right now because I'm on it every day now. I will look at it almost every day if I'm not trying to put one of these videos together or whatever, because it's not 100% negative, you know, it's not dragging you down. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, do you think how are things going to be different, and what is our new normal going to be? What do you think it's going to be like? Just guessing.
Well, you know, I'm part of some catering groups on Facebook from people all over the world are part of this. And, you know, different places have different new normals they're looking into, like specifically for catering and events. Their staff has to wear masks and gloves even to serve. And to me, that just seems so bizarre. But that's their new normal, especially on the coasts, you know, New York and California. You know, for us here, you know, I worry about the oil fields, and I worry about, you know, being a small town and being so fragile that, you know, do we have the jobs to support our community if the oil field is down? You know, I hate to see our town lose a lot of the good people that live here because there's nothing for them. But my most, I guess, positive hope for everything would be that we can get back to as close to normal as possible, but with an even better attitude of helping our local economy thrive. I've been kind of a jerk on Facebook with posting about, you know, support local, you know, stop buying from, you know, there's that On the Hook fish and chips truck that comes in, and I'm just like, no, just don't do it. They are big enough. They're okay. Go to Wild West and buy fish and chips on Friday. You know, go just somewhere. I mean, even in Cody, they have fish and chips places. Go get it there.
Yeah.
Just support local for now. You can have fish and chips later when people are doing better. But when places have to completely shut down because they're not busy enough, you know, we need to really focus on helping local.
Yes, you know, there's a lot of them that are very resilient, like yourself, and you found ways to make it go forward or make it work for the time being in the situation. But the people that can't do it, that's the scary part. And then you mentioned the oil field. Do you have family that works in the patch?
I don't. I do have quite a few friends that work in the oil field, and I'd hate to see them leave. Like, it makes me sad just thinking about it, that they might have to go somewhere else. I mean, we've even talked about it here, having to go somewhere else because there's not a huge job market at the moment. If things were to all of a sudden crater for us, and my business, we've been doing okay, breaking even, which is really all I can ask right now. And Paul thankfully has an essential job, but that doesn't take our bills away. That doesn't take away anything really. We're scooting by, and I'm thankful to the government for giving the stimulus checks, because that was huge, because my kids still need shoes. They still need clothing because they're growing. So yeah,
that was a great thing. I was glad to see that got done.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about that a couple times, but I can't say it enough. And then the payroll protection plan, the last two businesses I've talked to have had to use that, and thankfully they were on the ball with their stuff. But I was thankful that the government didn't sit around and squabble about the dollar amount. They knew that we needed that, and they got it done, and I was pretty proud of that as well.
Yeah, and I think that has significantly helped quite a few people. And I the first time I spoke to you, I wasn't going to apply for any of those government programs for small businesses, but I did end up applying for the EIDL, and I haven't received anything yet. Either way, like if I got it or I didn't. I got in right at the end of when they ran out of money, so I still don't know. But the way I looked at it is that, some of the donated meals, we've not made any money at all, or we've lost a little bit of money. And, it might even allow me to be able to hire somebody. So I just thought, I'll try, and then I'll just do, the best I can to make it worthwhile with that money. Don't hoard it, but use it to kind of help the local economy as best I can.
Yes. We haven't gotten ours yet, so I'm hoping it comes soon.
The EIDL?
No. We don't qualify for any of that stuff. The stimulus, the $1,200 or whatever, the extra. We haven't gotten that. But with the EIDL, that's, and the PPP and all that stuff, that was good stuff. But then, it hit the end of last week that money's running out everywhere, because I don't think they took into consideration the how drastic this was going to be.
Well, and did you see that some of those bigger companies applied for it and got it? And I know Shake Shack was giving back what they got because it wasn't rightfully theirs.
That was over $10 million, and that's a lot of money.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, I think, was the other one that got over $20 million.
Yeah.
It's not something that if I didn't get it that I would go under, but that's going to help someone like me or a fellow small business owner somewhere like here. That means the world to them.
Yes.
Whereas something like that, it's just a drop in the pond, And
I think that's that negativity part of it, and people should know better. I mean, small businesses, that's what people need to worry about, the little guy, man, because those, the airlines, I know that they're, whenever people can fly again, they're going to fly again, right. But the little guy that's selling a Chinese food in a buffet, that guy might not make it, because first of all, you can't curbside a buffet. And
no.
And especially if they're just starting out, it's just scary. And
right. And that's where I go back to, the moving forward, that I hope that this makes them take a look at where their money's being spent, even going to Walmart. I mean, I know people feel like buying local is expensive, but really that money does come back to our local economy faster than it would through Walmart or Amazon or wherever. I mean, buy your beef from your local rancher. It might cost an extra $1 or $2 a pound, but it's better for you. You know where it came from, and you're helping your neighbor.
That's good stuff. I'm glad you came back and visited with me again, Danielle.
Oh, good.
It's a pleasure. It really is. So before we close, I don't want to take too much of your time. I can ramble on forever. I'm a recluse, and so when I do start talking with somebody, it's just like ramble. But in closing, I want to just give you the floor. Make sure everybody knows what and when to come and see you, how to get a hold of you, and then any closing remarks you have.
So we're at 178 West North Street is our food trailer. Like I said, we're going to try out the burgers this coming Friday from 11 to 2. And that has the local beef, local lettuce, all that good stuff. Scratch made buns, all that. And then we're going to kind of see where our dinner crates go. But as far as donating, if you want to help us out with giving essentials and meals to those in need, you can either go to the Love Thy Neighbor Powell Facebook group. You can contact me directly, 307-202-2417, on Facebook at Hickory Street LLC or HickoryStreetLLC.com. And we can figure out a way to let you use us to help other people, or, even if you want lunch for yourself, just give us a call. We promise to do the best we can with the money we're given to help the best we can.
Yeah, that's very well said. And I know you will. I
do my best. I'll do my best.
Yes, and that's all you can ask for, but you did a pretty good best. So thanks again, Danielle, for being on. Oh, wait a minute. There's one more thing I want you to throw out there. So I see that you do your Cisco order. So if anybody wants to do that, how do they do that with you?
So they can just ask me, because some things are hard to find. But recently I've been placing a Cisco order every week. And if they're in need of pasta or even a couple pounds of butter, I get in big cases of it. So they can just stop by and say, hey, you got a couple pounds of butter? I'll sell it to you at my cost. I mean, I don't need to.
Can we order something from you personally, like a box of biscuits that tastes like Kentucky Fried Chicken biscuits?
Did you see my message about the biscuits?
I didn't.
Okay, so I commented back to Brandy, or I sent her a message or something, but my order for this week is already in. But I had sent her the cost on biscuits.
She didn't tell me. She's probably going to surprise me. We love those stinking biscuits, so.
They didn't get on this week's order, sorry.
Oh, it's totally good. I was just throwing that out there.
I had already. But I know a girl who makes homemade biscuits that would make you some.
Well, I might, yeah, right there. Okay, I'll put in an order for some homemade biscuits. I'll pick them up when I get my burger on Friday. How about that?
Okay. No, yeah, I'll put that down. I don't mind making some biscuits. They're easy and they're delicious.
Yeah. Well, great. And thank you so much again, Danielle. And God bless you. And tell your family hello, and tell Paul to keep at it, man. And 7 days a week.
Yeah.
7 days a week's got to be tough. So.
Yeah, he does good. All right. I appreciate you, Ray. Thanks for what you're doing. And hopefully we come out on the good side of all this.
We're going to. I will get this up before Friday so people can get down there and get those hamburgers from you.
Awesome. That'd be good.
Right?
Thanks.
Have a great rest of the evening. Thanks, Danielle.
See ya. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Episode 2 is in the books, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And so I just want to take a quick second and send a shout out to Danielle and thank her so very much for doing that interview. That was the second interview that I'd done with her, but the first one just didn't work out right. And I did talk with her a little bit about like this in the video, and I'll just kind of want to share a little something with you guys. So when I initially started working on Surviving the Distance project, it was right when the pandemic had blown up. And so when I first talked with everyone, they were very bleak, and there were some tears shed. And so, you know, I really enjoy doing it this way, where a couple weeks in, I think that people are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and that makes me really happy. And so I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Real quick, I just want to replug the T-shirt fundraiser, which is We Are Wyoming Tough, and you can find those at HDCC307.com. It will really help out a small business in our community. And when we start producing the t-shirts, you're all going to be coming along for the ride. So also, I've got some really exciting news I want to share with you guys, but I'm gonna wait just a little bit. I got some exciting news today, and I think you guys are all going to be interested to hear it. Also, we've got a couple more episodes coming up of Surviving the Distance over the next week and a half. And so please stay tuned. I just got word from a top secret guest, which will be our finale guest, yesterday, and I'm really excited about that, and I think you guys are all going to want to see that. So once again, thank you all for joining us on our YouTube channel. Stay tuned, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button and turn on the notification bell. And until next time, work hard, hustle harder, and don't forget to smile.